Welcome back to the Midnight Fire, everyone. I'm glad you could join me. Tonight, we're journeying to the edge of a place few dare to tread, a place where the water is as black as ink and holds secrets far older than the trees that surround it. We're talking about Blackwood Lake, a name whispered in local legends, a place that holds a unique and chilling story. Most lakes are sources of life, recreation, even beauty. But Blackwood Lake is different. It doesn't teem with fish. You won't see families picnicking on its shores, and you certainly won't see anyone swimming in its unnaturally still, dark waters. The locals say the lake doesn't reflect the sky. On the clearest day, when the sun is a brilliant blaze above, the surface of Blackwood Lake remains a flat, black void. It doesn't mirror the clouds, the trees, or even your own face if you dare to peer into it. Instead, they say it reflects something else, something from within. Our story tonight centers on a group of 4 college friends: Liam, the confident leader; Maya, the skeptic and budding journalist; Chloe, the artist who saw beauty in the macabre; and Ben, the quiet, observant one who always carried his vintage film camera. It was Liam's idea, of course. He'd heard the legends of Blackwood Lake and saw it as the ultimate challenge, a perfect backdrop for a weekend camping trip that would test their courage and give them a story to tell for years. Maya naturally thought it was all nonsense. She brought her notepad, determined to debunk the local folklore and write a piece about the power of suggestion and rural myths. Chloe, on the other hand, was captivated. She packed her sketch pad and charcoal, eager to capture the lake's eerie, desolate beauty. And Ben, well, Ben just wanted to be with his friends, capturing their adventure on film, frame by silent frame. They arrived on a Friday afternoon in late autumn. The air was already cold, and the woods surrounding the lake were a riot of dying colors, fiery reds and decaying yellows. But as they broke through the tree line and stood before the lake, a sudden silence fell over them. The air grew still, and the vibrant colors of the forest seemed to stop abruptly at the water's edge. Before them lay a perfect, dark oval. It was exactly as the legends described, a vast, polished surface of obsidian that swallowed the light. Liam let out a low whistle. Whoa, they weren't kidding about the no-reflection thing. He leaned over the edge, and the others watched, holding their breath. His face, which should have been staring back at him, was simply gone, replaced by the endless, featureless black. Maya knelt beside him, notebook in hand, scribbling furiously. It's probably the high mineral content, she reasoned aloud, though her voice lacked its usual conviction. Peat and tannins in the water can make it incredibly dark, absorbing light instead of reflecting it. Chloe wasn't listening. She was already sketching, her charcoal flying across the page, trying to capture the profound emptiness of the view. Ben raised his camera, the satisfying click of the shutter the only sound breaking the unnatural quiet. He took a photo of Liam and Maya at the water's edge, then one of the lake itself. As dusk began to settle, they set up their camp a safe distance from the shore. They built a fire, its warm, dancing light a welcome comfort against the encroaching darkness and the cold, unfeeling presence of the lake. They told stories, they laughed, and for a while they managed to forget the unsettling body of water just a few dozen feet away. It was during a lull in the conversation that Chloe spoke up, her voice barely a whisper. "Did you guys see it?" Liam turned to her. "See what?" "In the lake," she said, her eyes wide. "When the sun was setting, for just a second I thought I saw a reflection, but it wasn't of the sky. It was something else. A room. He grabbed his camera. It was an old habit to document everything, and crept out of his tent. The moon was hidden behind a thick blanket of clouds, and the darkness was absolute. Guided only by the sound, he made his way to the water's edge. The ticking was louder here, seeming to emanate from the very surface of the water. He knelt down, peering into the blackness, and then he saw it. Faintly, like a developing photograph, an image was blooming in the dark water. It wasn't a reflection of him or the starless sky. It was a room, an elegant, decaying parlor, furnished with Victorian-era furniture draped in white cloths. In the corner stood a tall, ornate grandfather clock, its pendulum swinging in time with the ticking sound that filled the air. And in the center of the room, standing before a large covered mirror, was a figure, a person with their back to him. Ben fumbled with his camera, his hands shaking. He had to capture this. He raised the viewfinder to his eye, focused, and pressed the shutter. The click echoed loudly in the silence, and at that exact moment, the figure in the reflection turned its head. It didn't have a face. It was a smooth, blank oval like a porcelain mask, and it was looking right at him. Ben scrambled backward, tripping over a root, and fled back to the safety of his tent, his mind screaming. The next morning, Ben was quiet, withdrawn. He tried to tell the others what he'd seen, but his story came out as a panicked, jumbled mess. Maya tried to rationalize it a dream, a hallucination brought on by the creepy atmosphere. Liam, trying to keep the mood light, joked that Ben had just seen the lake's resident ghost. Only Chloe seemed to believe him. She looked pale and confessed she'd had a nightmare about a ticking clock in a room where all the mirrors were covered. Their unease grew throughout the day. The lake seemed more menacing now. They packed up their camp, eager to leave. As they did, Ben was obsessively checking his camera. He needed to see the photo. He needed proof that he wasn't going crazy. But it was an old film camera. The proof would have to wait. Their drive home was tense. The silence was thick with unspoken fear. It showed the surface of Blackwood Lake, and reflected in it, as plain as day, was not a ghostly parlor, not a faceless figure, but the four of them. It was Liam, Maya, Chloe, and Ben himself. But they weren't standing by the lake. They were in a room, an old, dusty parlor, and they were all soaking wet, their clothes torn, their skin pale and blue, with seaweed tangled in their hair. Their eyes were wide and empty, and in the background of the reflection on the wall hung a familiar photograph, the one Ben had just developed. The legend of Blackwood Lake has many variations, but one constant is that the lake doesn't just swallow light. It swallows reflections. It steals them. Some say that if you look into it at the right moment, you won't see your future or your past. You'll see the reflection the lake has chosen for you, a glimpse of a reality where you made one wrong step, where you got too close and the lake took you. A world where you are nothing more than a memory trapped in its dark mirror. Ben never showed the photograph to his friends. How could he? Sometimes the most terrifying thing you can find is a reflection of yourself. Until next time, stay safe and keep the fires bright. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again. Good night.